The galaxy remembered the day humans were forced out. It was the largest gathering the Galactic Council ever held. Thousands of alien delegates filled the hall with loud voices, arguments, and fear. Only one thing they agreed on. Humans are too dangerous. They must leave. But humans did not argue. They did not fight. They simply nodded, walked out, and left in quiet ships without a single word. At first, the galaxy celebrated. They believed they had removed the biggest threat to peace. Many alien species thought life would now become simple, calm, and predictable. But the silence humans left behind did not feel peaceful. It felt heavy. It felt wrong. It felt like a storm hiding behind a clear sky. No one felt this silence more than the alien officer Commander Reltor, stationed at the border of old human space. Every morning he looked out from the large viewing window and saw nothing. No human ships, no human signals, no movement. Only empty space. But something about that space made him uneasy. One night, when most officers were resting, Reltor stood alone in the control room. The lights were dim, the station was quiet, and only the sound of machines filled the air. As he checked the scanners, he noticed something strange. A small dot appeared near the old border. It was faint, almost invisible. A signal. But not a normal one. Reltor zoomed in. The signal was using old human frequency codes, the same type humans used before they were banished. He felt a chill crawl down his back. Impossible. Humans left years ago, he whispered. He called his team. Officers gathered around the screen. Some were scared, some confused, and some refused to believe it. Maybe it's an old satellite, one officer said. No, Reltor replied quietly. This signal is new. Fresh. Someone sent it recently. The room turned silent. They decided to trace the signal. The computer showed the exact location. An outpost once used by humans but abandoned when they were forced to leave. The council declared it empty long ago. A scout team was immediately prepared. Their ship, the Silver Eye, launched into the darkness and headed toward the outpost. Back on the station, Reltor waited. He watched the stars, feeling something he had not felt in many years. Fear. Hours passed. Then the Silver Eye finally sent a message. Commander, we reached the outpost. Their voices sounded nervous, almost shaking. You need to see this. A live feed appeared on the main screen. The outpost looked completely clean. Not broken, not dusty, not damaged. Clean. Organized. As if humans left only minutes ago. Is anyone there? Reltor asked. No bodies. No signs of struggle, the scout leader replied. Everything is untouched. Machines are still active. Food containers are fresh. Reltor frowned. That makes no sense. Humans left years ago. There's more, the scout said. Please watch this. The camera moved to a wall deep inside the outpost. Something was written repeatedly in large simple letters. We did not leave. We were called. The officers inside the command room froze. Who wrote this? When? And what does called mean? Reltor spoke again, his voice low. Search the area. Every room. Every corridor. The scout team explored deeper. The outpost was strangely perfect. No dust. No broken wires. No signs of time passing. Almost like someone was still maintaining it. Then the scouts reached the storage room. Commander, the scout leader whispered. We found something else. A small human device lay on a table, glowing with a soft blue light. It was a data cube used by human explorers. The scouts activated it. A human voice echoed through the room. We go now. Not because you pushed us. Not because we fear you. But because something older speaks to us. Something calling from the dark. The message ended. Silence followed. Reltor felt his heart drop. What calling? What dark? Suddenly the live feed glitched. Static. Noise. The screen flickered. Commander, something moved outside the outpost. The scout leader's voice was filled with fear. Show it. Reltor shouted. The feed stabilized for a second. Just enough to show a tall, human-shaped figure standing in the shadows outside the outpost. But something was wrong. The figure's eyes glowed white. Its skin looked pale, almost metallic. It did not blink. It did not move normally. And then, it slowly turned toward the camera. The feed cut to black. The command room exploded in panic. Reltor tried calling the scouts. No answer. He sent emergency pings. No response. The only thing that came back was a single short message. We saw them, but they are not the same humans we knew. And then silence returned. A deeper silence than before. A silence that squeezed every heart on the station. Reltor looked at the dark border of human space and whispered, "What have the humans become?" The command room stayed frozen even after the last message faded. Officers stared at the dark screen, hoping the scout team would come back online. But the silence continued. It felt too heavy, like something was pressing against the station from the outside. Commander Reltor paced slowly, his claws tapping the floor. He felt a fear he had never known before. Humans had left quietly, peacefully, but what the scouts saw was not peaceful. It was unnatural. Finally, Reltor ordered, "Restart long-range scans. Every frequency. Search for the silver eye." The machines hummed. Screens blinked. Data streamed. Nothing. No ship signature. No engine trail. No escape pods. Just empty space. It was as if the silver eye had never existed. One junior officer whispered, "Commander, do you think that thing, whatever the scouts saw, destroyed them?" Reltor didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the scanner. Because deep inside he feared something far worse. Maybe it wasn't an attack. Maybe the scouts were taken. Taken by whatever humans had become. Or whatever had called them. The Council demands answers. Hours later, the news reached the Galactic Council. The hall again filled with noise, fearful voices, shaking arguments, and terrified questions. Are humans returning? Is this their revenge? Did they build a new army? Reltor was called to speak through holoscreen. His voice stayed steady, but every word carried tension. "We received a human-coded signal. We sent a scout ship. The outpost appeared active. Inside we found a message. We did not leave. We were called." And then, he paused. Images from the broken live feed were projected behind him. The tall human-shaped figure, glowing eyes, metallic skin. Gasps filled the hall. "That thing is not human," one council member whispered. Reltor shook his head. "It looked human, but changed. I do not know how." The council leader stood up. "Commander, do you believe humans are preparing for war?" Reltor answered honestly. "I believe humans are preparing for something. But I do not think it is us." The hall erupted again, fear louder than before. But deep inside, Reltor's fear was different. Humans didn't look angry. Humans didn't look threatening. They looked prepared. Prepared for something coming from the darkness. A second signal appears. 2 days passed. The border station stayed on high alert. Officers didn't sleep. They watched every blinking light, listened to every sound. Then it happened again. "Commander," an officer shouted. New signal. Same human frequency. Reltor rushed forward. Location. The officer swallowed. Not from an outpost. From deep space. From the dark edge. Everyone froze. The dark edge was the most feared place in the galaxy. No star maps worked there. Ships entered but rarely returned. The area was avoided by every species. The signal came through, weak, broken but clear enough to hear. "We are not your enemy." Static. "Stay away from the border." More static. "We cannot protect you if you come closer." The message ended. Shock spread through the room like fire. Protect us? From what? Reltor felt his heart tighten. Humans weren't warning them out of hostility. They were warning them out of necessity, almost like they were guarding something. A scout drone returns. Suddenly the station alarms blared. Unknown object approaching. High speed. Every officer prepared for battle, but as the object slowed near the station, scanners identified it. A human drone, Reltor breathed. The drone stopped near the viewing window. Its surface was sleek, black, and covered with strange glowing patterns, not like old human tech. Something new. Something advanced. Then the drone projected a message directly into the station's air. The voice was calm. Cold. Human but altered. "Do not search for the missing ship." Reltor stepped forward, heart pounding. "Where are the scouts? What have you done with them?" The drone turned slightly, its glowing blue eye focusing on him. "They saw what they should not see. They are safe but changed." Reltor's blood froze. "Changed? What do you mean?" The drone did not answer directly. Instead, it delivered another message. "You pushed us out. We accepted your decision. But you never understood why our silence was so quiet. We did not leave to escape you." The drone paused. The glowing patterns grew brighter. "We left because something ancient woke up. Something that speaks only to us. Something coming from the dark edge." Officers in the room stepped back, trembling. Reltor whispered, "Is this something dangerous?" The drone replied with chilling simplicity. "It consumes worlds." The entire room fell silent. Before anyone could respond, the drone spoke its final words. "You must not enter human space again. We stand between you and the darkness." Then the drone turned, accelerated, and shot into the stars, disappearing instantly. The galaxy begins to fear again. After the drone left, no one in the station spoke for several minutes. The silence felt alive, like something watching them, something waiting. Reltor broke the silence. "We need to know what humans are fighting," he said. "Because if they fail..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Every officer knew the truth. If humans fall, the galaxy falls with them. The border station stayed strangely quiet after the human drone vanished into the darkness. No one moved. No one breathed loudly. Every officer felt the same cold fear spreading through the room. Commander Reltor stood near the viewing window, staring at the empty space where the drone had disappeared moments ago. His hands trembled slightly, something he tried to hide. Humans had been silent for years. But now that silence finally made sense. They were not angry. They were not planning revenge. They were guarding the galaxy from something worse than war. Something that consumed worlds. Reltor whispered, "If this darkness can consume worlds, why did it call only the humans?" No one had an answer. A strange energy wave hits the station. Hours later, as the station tried to return to normal operations, alarms suddenly flared red. "Energy wave approaching. Unknown signature," an officer shouted. The station shook violently as if something huge had brushed against it. Lights flickered. Screens glitched. Panels sparked. Reltor grabbed onto a railing. "Where is it coming from?" The scanning officer replied with panic in his voice. "From the dark edge, the same direction as the human drone." A second wave hit, this one stronger. The entire station groaned like a living creature in pain. Outside the viewing window, space itself seemed to bend, twist, and ripple like water disturbed by an unseen creature. Officers stared in horror. "It looks like something is pushing against our reality," one whispered. But Reltor said nothing. He just stared at the dark edge. The first visual contact. Suddenly, a small ship appeared on the screen, moving erratically, its engine damaged, hull cracked. "It's a research vessel," an officer shouted. "They went missing near the dark edge last month." The ship drifted toward them, powerless. "Prepare to dock," Reltor ordered. "Rescue team ready." But when the rescue crew opened the vessel's hatch, they froze in terror. There was no crew. No bodies. No signs of life. Only the words carved inside the metal walls, scratched with desperation. "The dark speaks the language of humans only. We heard it calling too. Don't listen." Every officer reading it felt a cold shiver crawl down their spine. What kind of voice could call only to humans? What message was so strong that it pulled them away from the galaxy? Reltor clenched his fists. "This is no natural force. Something intelligent is out there." A massive structure revealed. Later that night, while most officers tried to rest, even though sleep felt impossible, the scanners detected something enormous. "Commander, you should see this," the night officer said. Reltor walked slowly to the main screen. At first he saw only darkness. Then, something huge began to emerge from the shadows. A structure. A massive station or fortress. 10 times larger than anything humans ever built before. Its shape was strange, smooth curves mixed with sharp angles, glowing lines running through its surface like veins. "What is that?" an officer whispered. Reltor replied with a shaking voice. "A human structure. But different. This is not old human design." The station hovered silently in the void, unmoving, like a giant eye watching the galaxy. Then something unexpected happened. The station opened. A massive gate slowly slid apart, revealing a glowing blue core inside, swirling, shifting, almost alive. Data started pouring into their scanners. "Commander. The design, it's part human technology, part unknown signal patterns, the same patterns from the energy wave." Reltor leaned closer to the screen. "Humans didn't build this alone. They built it with something else. Something they met in the dark." A human recording plays automatically. Suddenly, without anyone touching the controls, a video file appeared on the screen. It was a human explorer, an older man, beard messy, eyes tired but determined. Static filled the background. Lights flickered behind him. He spoke in a soft voice. "If you are seeing this, then we failed to stop it from waking." Reltor's heart stopped. Humans knew something was waking long before the galaxy forced them out. "We were exploring the dark edge," the man continued. "We found ruins of a civilization older than anything known. They left warnings. We didn't listen. He looked directly into the camera. The darkness speaks. It communicates through thought, through emotion. But only humans can hear it. Officers in the room shifted uneasily. It called to us, pulled us, changed us. We left the galaxy to follow it, and to learn how to stop what is coming. His voice weakened. If we don't return, run. Run far. The recording ended. No one moved for a long time. The human station wakes up. Suddenly, the unknown human-built structure lit up fully. Its glowing veins brightened. Energy readings spiked. "Commander, the station is powering up," an officer yelled. "Is it attacking?" another shouted. "No," Reltor said quietly, staring at the screen. "It's scanning us." A beam of soft blue light passed through the border station. It didn't harm them. It simply examined them. Then a message appeared on their screen. No voice. Just words. "Do not enter human space. You are not ready to see what we fight. Turn back." Reltor read the message twice. Humans weren't threatening them. Humans were warning them. Warning them because something terrible was coming. The machines beeped again. "Commander," the officer said slowly. "The human station. It is opening a second gate." Reltor felt his blood run cold. Because through the gate, he could see shapes moving. Huge shapes. Dark shapes. Not human. Something else had followed the humans. Something ancient. Something hungry. And part 3 ends with Reltor whispering, "What have you brought back with you, humans?" For a long moment, no one inside the border station spoke. Every officer stood frozen, their eyes locked on the massive human-built structure floating in the dark. The second gate continued to open slowly, too slowly, as if whatever waited behind it was choosing the right moment to show itself. Commander Reltor felt sweat gather on his forehead. His throat dried. His heart beat loud enough he could hear it in his ears. He stepped closer to the screen, barely able to breathe. The shapes behind the gate moved again. Not fast. Not slow. Just wrong. Like creatures from a place where laws of nature were different. The first shape stepped forward. It was large. Dark. Taller than any human. Its body shifted like thick smoke trapped inside armor. Parts of it looked solid, then turned liquid, then vanished like dust, only to return again. The scanners tried to identify it. They failed. "Organic and not organic," an officer stuttered. "It changes every second." Another shape appeared beside it. This one had long limbs, bending at strange angles. Its head split into two before merging back into one. Its eyes, if they were eyes, shone like burning stars. And then more shapes moved behind them. Dozens. Hundreds. Reltor felt a deep fear he had never known. These were not aliens. Not machines. Not life as the galaxy understood it. They were something else. Something ancient. Something hungry. The human station reacts. Suddenly, alarms inside the human superstation began flashing. The glowing blue veins across its surface pulsed faster, like a heart under stress. "Commander," the scanning officer shouted. "The station is shifting into a defensive mode. Weapons powered up. Shields activated. Gates locked. Energy barriers formed. But the ancient shapes still moved forward." "It's not enough," Reltor whispered. He was right. One of the dark shapes pushed its arm, if it was an arm, against the energy barrier. The barrier shook, twisted, and began to distort. A normal barrier would have broken. But this barrier flickered, then reshaped itself, adapting instantly. "Humans upgraded their technology," an officer murmured. "Something taught them how to fight this." Reltor felt a cold realization settle in. The humans had built this fortress for one purpose: to hold these creatures back. Not for victory. Not for conquest. But to stop them from reaching the galaxy. A human voice returns. Without warning, the station speakers activated on their own. A human voice, young, steady but hollow, filled the border station. "Galactic Council Border Station. You should not be here." Reltor looked around. "Identify yourself." The voice replied calmly. "Designation, Sentinel-3. Once human. Now, changed." Every officer stiffened. "Changed how?" Reltor asked carefully. There was a short silence. Then the voice said, "We merged with the signal. With the ancient technology. With what was calling us." "Merged? With the darkness?" Officers exchanged terrified looks. Reltor forced himself to speak. "Why did it call only humans?" The answer chilled every soul in the room. "Because humans are the only minds that can survive the call without breaking." A dead silence followed. What kind of signal destroys every other species' mind? What kind of force chooses humans because they can endure the pain? Reltor whispered, Sentinel-3, what are those creatures behind the gate? The answer was simple. The first darkness. A beat. Then more words. They destroyed the civilization older than all of us. The ruins we found were theirs. Why awaken now? Reltor asked. Because the galaxy pushed us away. Reltor froze. When you banished us, you removed the only barrier. Our exploration ships went too far. We touched the deep signal. And the first darkness saw us. Another awful realization hit Reltor. They didn't banish a danger. They banished their only defense. The creature's attack. Without warning, one of the ancient creatures slammed into the barrier again. The entire human structure shuddered. The glowing blue veins dimmed and flared like lightning. They are testing our strength, Sentinel-3 said. They will attack soon. As if answering the voice, the biggest creature stepped forward. Its body expanded like a shadow stretching across the room. It lifted a claw-like limb and struck the barrier. This time the barrier cracked. A thin, long fracture appeared, like a spider web of light. Officer after officer gasped. Commander, someone shouted. If they break through. Reltor didn't need the sentence finished. He knew exactly what would happen. The creatures would spill into human space. Then into alien space. Then across the entire galaxy. One star system at a time. One species at a time. Until nothing was left. Reltor whispered, Sentinel-3, can you hold them? There was a long, painful pause. Not for long. Reltor swallowed. What do you need? Another pause. Then Sentinel-3 said something that made every officer step back in shock. We need reinforcements from humanity. The ones who stayed behind. Reltor blinked. Stayed behind? Humans left years ago. Sentinel-3's voice changed, now deeper. Not all. A forgotten group remained hidden within your borders. Waiting. Watching. Preparing for this day. Reltor's throat tightened. Humans, never fully left? Find them, Sentinel-3 said. And bring them to us. Only together can we close the dark gate. The message ended. Alarms on the border station blared louder than ever. The creatures struck the barrier again. And again. Cracks spread wider. Reltor stared at the screen with fear and decision in his eyes. The galaxy forced humans to leave, he whispered. Now we must beg them to return. The council chamber was silent. Every member sat frozen as the holoscreen replayed the same scene again and again. The human convoy leaving the sector, calm and quiet, their ships moving in perfect formation. No message. No warning. No emotion. Just silence. The Varan ambassador, Elder Shiren, gripped the edge of the table with trembling claws. He had lived through 3 interstellar wars. He had survived invasions, plagues, and political collapse. But nothing in his long life had scared him more than human quietness. He spoke first. Has there been any signal? Any complaint? Any threat? The communication officer swallowed. No, Elder. Humans have not spoken since departure. They only left a single transmission on their old diplomatic frequency. Play it, Shiren whispered. A human voice echoed through the chamber. Come, soft, almost gentle. We understand. We will not return. Nothing more. Nothing less. Every council member felt their hearts drop. That sentence was not a complaint, it was a final decision. A judgment. A closing door. And no one knew what it meant. Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship Silent Resolve, Captain Mara Hale stood on the bridge, watching the stars shift as the fleet moved away from the Zarian frontier. Her expression was steady, but her eyes held a storm. She turned to Admiral Kian Carter. They think we left because they forced us, she said quietly. Kian nodded. Let them think that. But our silence, they will fear it. That is the point, the Admiral replied. Fear makes the galaxy careful. Mara slowly exhaled. She understood the plan, but it didn't make it easier. Do we have confirmation? She asked. Did all human colonies withdraw? Yes, Kian said. Every outpost. Every station. Every research team. All returning to core space. And not a single transmission to the Council? None. Kian looked at the stars. We speak only once, when necessary. That is our rule. Mara folded her arms. Do you think they regret it? Oh, they regret it already. The Admiral's voice dropped. But regret is only the beginning. Back in Zarian space, panic begins. In the trade hubs, merchants whispered. Humans are gone. Their routes are empty. In military bases, officers argued. What if they come back angry? And in the streets, civilians spoke in fear. Why did they leave so quietly? Why didn't they argue? Everyone knew humans were emotional, loud, expressive. Their sudden silence felt unnatural. Wrong. Like the stillness before a massive storm. Confusion turns to unease. The council attempted to regain control of the situation. Let us send them an apology, one member suggested. Apology for what? Another protested. We only enforced our laws. We pushed them too hard, a third argued. Humans are powerful. Now they walk away without a single complaint. You know how dangerous that is. At that moment, an officer rushed into the chamber. Council, you need to see this. They all turned toward the new holoscreen projection. It was a map of the galaxy. One by one, human-controlled systems were going dark. Not destroyed but locked, sealed, closed to all outside species. Trade lanes, blocked. Diplomatic channels, muted. Borders, shut. The entire region around human space was turning into a wide, empty ring. A silent perimeter. A warning without words. The council felt cold fear spread through the room. What are they doing? Elder Shiren whispered. The officer's voice shook. They are isolating themselves and building something behind the border. Something large. Inside human territory, a secret begins. In a vast orbital shipyard, thousands of drones worked in absolute silence. Rows of reactors, armor plates, and weapons modules were being assembled into something new. Something massive. Something not seen before. Engineers stood on observation platforms watching the construction. Do you think the council knows? One asked. They will, eventually, another replied. But by then it will not matter. In the distance, a glowing silhouette slowly took shape. A ship the size of a small moon. A vessel without a name. Without a signature. Without a single broadcast. Built for one purpose only. Meanwhile, the galaxy finally realizes the truth. The council reviewed the final report. The human departure was not a retreat. It was not a surrender. It was a preparation. A strategist on the council finally said what everyone feared. This is not normal behavior for humans. Their silence is unnatural. Elder Shiren nodded slowly. Humans are planning something. Something they do not want the galaxy to see. Another counselor whispered. And when they finally speak again. Everyone felt their hearts freeze. What will they say? Panic spread quietly across the galaxy, like a shadow slipping under every door. No explosions. No enemy fleets. No human threats. Just silence. And silence from humans had become the most frightening sound in the galaxy. The council gathered again, but this time the room felt different. The walls felt smaller. The lights felt dimmer. Even breathing seemed loud. Elder Shiren stared at the holomap floating above the round table. Human space glowed a deep red. Not because of war, but because zero data was coming out. No scans could penetrate. No signals could enter. No diplomatic ships returned. It was like a curtain had fallen. A thick, unbreakable wall. On the edge of human space, silent observers. A Zarian reconnaissance ship drifted near the border, scanning carefully. Try again, the captain ordered. The sensor officer shook his head. It's no use. Their border field blocks everything. Not even long-range pulses get through. What about visual? The captain asked. We only see fog. Like a dust barrier. But artificial. The captain frowned. Humans had never used technology like this before. Log everything, he said. The council must know. But before the message finished uploading, the entire border lit up. 100 soft blue lights. Then 100 more. Forming a massive, glowing line around human territory. The ship fell into silence. It looked like a sleeping titan. Peaceful but capable of destroying anything. Captain, the officer whispered. Are they watching us right now? The captain swallowed hard. I think they are watching everyone. Inside human space, the silent project grows. In the central shipyard, Admiral Kian Carter stood before a giant viewing window. Beyond it, a colossus floated in the void. A ship so large that its shadow covered entire construction platforms. Engines the size of buildings glowed softly. Armored plating thicker than battleship hulls wrapped its structure. The vessel didn't roar. Didn't broadcast its presence. It only existed. Quiet. So. Waiting. Mara Hale approached, speaking in a low voice. Admiral, the galaxy has noticed our silence. Kian nodded. They should. Mara hesitated. Are we really going to deploy that? Isn't it too much? Kian looked at the massive ship through the window. After what the council did, after their arrogance, we cannot trust them anymore. His voice was calm but filled with something heavier than anger. We will not attack them. We will not threaten them. But we will prepare. Mara looked again at the giant vessel. And when they ask what we are building? Kian's eyes narrowed. They won't ask. They're too afraid. The council finally breaks. In the main chamber, chaos erupted. One member shouted, "We must send diplomats." Another slammed the table. Humans denied all entry. A third trembled. Why are they building something that big? What did we push them into doing? Elder Shiren raised a hand. Silence fell. We forced them to leave. We gave them no choice. Now they make choices without us. A young counselor stood, voice shaking. But, they are humans. They always talk. They always argue. Why won't they speak now? The elder closed his eyes. That is what terrifies me. Humans speak to friends. They speak to allies. He opened his eyes again, full of dread. They are silent to enemies. A cold wave swept the chamber. The council realized something grim. Humans were not silent because they were hurt. Not silent because they were planning revenge. Not silent because they were ashamed. Humans were silent because they had stopped caring what the galaxy thought. That was more dangerous than any weapon. Evidence of the silent giant. A scout drone from a neutral species managed to slip close to the border for a moment. It recorded one blurred image. A glimpse of a massive outline behind the barrier. Not clear. Not detailed. But enough. When the image reached the council, no one spoke for a long time. It showed only one thing. A gigantic human warship. A dreadnought-sized monster, but larger. Too large. Too advanced. And too quiet. What is that? One counselor whispered. That, Elder Shiren said softly, is why humans do not speak. The chamber fell into absolute silence. A sentence formed in every mind. If this is what they build when they are quiet, what will they reveal when they finally talk? Inside human space, the warning. Admiral Kian received the final report. The galaxy has seen the silhouette, Mara said. Kian nodded. Good. Should we announce anything? She asked. He turned toward her, expression cold and calm. No. Let them imagine. Fear fills the silence better than words.